Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Wispin here, and welcome back to another video here on the Pokecentral network. If you guys do want to join me here on my server, the IP is pokecentral.org. All of the links that you need to download and install Pixelmon can be found in the description down below. If you need any help with anything related to Pixelmon, installing it, or you have any questions about the mod itself, you can go ahead and join my Discord. We have almost 12,000 members over there in a support channel where you can ask any questions and hopefully get a response from one of our many helpers. So Aggron, and in particular, we are actually going to be going with Mega Aggron. Now, it actually has the highest defense stat in the game, tied at 230 with Mega Steelix and Shuckle. So pretty insane on the defense front. It actually, that's crazy, 230 defense. Now, its special defense is kind of lacking. It has really bad speed, but its physical attack is also insanely high. One of the highest physical attacks of a Pokemon that also has a very high defensive stat. So, for example, Steelix's attack is only 125. Aggron is 140. And I'm talking about the Mega forms here, not the regular base Pokemon, but the Mega form of Aggron has a base attack of 140, which is crazy. But again, its HP stat is kind of lacking. So we have to try to make use of that really high defense and that really high physical attack to set up a really awesome Pokemon. And I have a plan all set up. So I will say this moveset was actually created by Blazing Fox. He's one of the moderators, senior moderators here on the Pokecentral network, and he's been helping me out with all of these how to train your Pokemon videos from the very beginning. So if you see him online, make sure to go ahead and say thank you to him. But also, this is his favorite Pokemon. He always talks about it. He collects these. He has so many of these Aggrons, shiny Arons, all kinds of things. So this is actually the moveset that he says he uses. So Aron can only spawn in Mesa biomes. He spawns anytime during the day or night, but only in Mesa. No other biomes in the game. So I feel like the best place to find one is probably going to be over here in the Mesa biome at the Safari Zone. So Warp Safari, if you guys don't know about this place, best place on the server for finding Pokemon. There are plenty of Numels here. No Arons just yet. Is that one there? Nope, that's a Nidoran. Okay, I'm going to have a look around, see if I can locate one, and I'll be back with you guys once I've managed to find one. All right, guys, so here we have an Aron. Now, I actually do want to... You know what? No, we don't need our Parasect anymore. I used to use that for catching Pokemon using False Swipe, but now that we're using Quick Balls, it's actually not that great to use a False Swipe Pokemon. So let's just go ahead and toss this Quick Ball. Hope we can get them first time. If we don't, we'll run from the battle and jump back in and try a second time. They are fairly common, I believe. I've seen quite a few of them around here. Still one of the rarest Mesa biome Pokemon, but I'd say they're right in the medium to rare side of things. You'll still find them fairly easily, but they will be a little less common than things like Geodude. Even Larvitar is slightly more common. But okay, we got ourselves the Aron that we need, and now we can go ahead and actually check its IVs as well as its EVs. Not its EVs, IVs as well as its nature. IVs is actually looking pretty insane. That is some great IVs. Now, the unfortunate part is that even though it is 72% and has quite a few good IVs, you can see the speed, special defense, and physical or special attack. Well, number one, the highest IV here is special attack, and we're not going to be using any special attack at all, so kind of a pointless stat. And then we look to the other stats. Doesn't really matter unless they're 31, because we're going to be wanting a perfect Pokemon at the end of things. Any IV that isn't 31 really doesn't it just doesn't matter that much. There is a certain move that is an egg move, can only be obtained through breeding with other Pokemon, so we need to make sure that we get that before we move on with anything else. So the move in question is actually Curse, and the Pokemon that we need to breed with our Aron is going to be a Slowpoke or a Slowbro. So if we go ahead and collect this Slowbro, I believe we should be able to get the move Curse on it, and that means that we should be able to breed it with our Aron. Now, I didn't actually check the gender. They're both female. That's a pretty easy fix. We actually have gender tokens that we can use, or we can just use the Poke Designer to flip that around so they can actually breed. However, before we do that, we need to make sure that Slowbro can actually get the move Curse. So we're here over at the move relearner in order to actually get the move curse on our Slowbro, and then we're actually going to go ahead and switch the Slowbro. Actually, we need to, switch the Slowbro into a male gender in order to breed it with this Aron that we have. So if we go ahead, gender, flip it to male, confirm that, and confirm that, we can put them into the PC, and now I can explain exactly why we want the move curse and how it works. So before I actually do that, let me check the nature on this Aron. Serious nature, we want impish, so that's not really all that great. But let's just throw them into the PC, or not the PC, the daycare rather. And let's just focus on getting ourselves the move passed down so that we have that egg move and we're good to go, and we can move on with our Aron and make sure we can fix up those IVs and nature next. So while they're breeding, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Curse. Now, this move is really, really unique. It's really cool, and it works great for Aggron in particular due to a couple of different things. Now, it works differently for ghost Pokemon and non-ghost Pokemon. We're not really going to get into the ghost side of things too much because Aggron is not a ghost type Pokemon. So the way it works for Aggron is that it raises the user's attack and defense by 1 stage each, and it lowers speed by 1 stage, with of course a maximum of 6 stages and a minimum of 6 stages for both of those things. And then on top of that, each stage is 50% increase or decrease depending on if it's going up or down. So because of this, we're losing 50% of our speed every single time we use the move Curse. However, Mega Aggron has one of the lowest speed stats in the game, especially for a Mega Pokemon. It's pretty awful, and lowering it really doesn't impact that much because you're not really going to be outspeeding Pokemon anyways unless you're using a priority-based move, which if that's the case, again, the speed stat still doesn't matter at all because you're using a priority move. So because of that, we're not really losing anything when we use this move. Our speed stat going down doesn't really impact anything, and then we get the increase in our attack and defense, which again is a percentage increase. So because Aggron has such a insanely high attack stat and an insanely high defense stat, you're getting a massive boost every single time that you use this. A 50% boost, but with those high stats, 50% is quite a lot. So that probably all makes sense to you, but to put it into perspective just how insane these stats are, if you have a max stat, so max trained in defense, which would be with the impish nature, max EVs in your defensive stat, and perfect IVs, your defensive stat on an Aggron is going to come out to 614. That is the absolute maximum that you can get to without any stat boosting moves. However, if you are going to go ahead and use Curse one time, that jumps all the way up from 614 to, I believe, 921. And if you use Curse twice, that means that defensive stat is going to be 1,228. Now, to put that into perspective again, let's go ahead and take a look at one of my other Pokemon's defensive stats. So if we go ahead and take our Gyarados has pretty good. He's pretty low level. Let's see our Parasect. What is our Parasect's defensive stat? Defense, 188. So our Mega Aggron with 2 curses is going to have over 1,200 defense, whereas this guy has 188. That is insane. That is crazy. And if we look at our Ferrothorn, again, pretty high defense here, 239. That is still only 1/6 of what our Aggrons could be. Now, keep in mind, this Ferrothorn, only level 60. I believe it probably caps out around 400 defense. But even in that case, that's only 1/3 of what we're going to be getting with our Mega Aggron. And wow, I just looked it up. Ferrothorn's defense actually caps out at 379. I just threw out a number off the top of my head, and it was almost exact. Okay, so do we have any eggs quite yet? It does not look like it. We still have our Charizard and Ditto and Lucario's breeding in here. I totally forget about those Pokemon every time I finish an episode. I really need to remember to take them out. Now, for the time being, while we're waiting on that egg move to get passed down to a new Aron inside that egg, let's try to find some of the other moves. Now, I am going to be looking for 2 TMs and 1 move that we get through leveling up. The move that we get through leveling up is actually Iron Head. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And then the 2 TMs that we need are Sleep Talk and Rest. So I don't see them in here, but I do know they are TMs. Hopefully they're here, because if they're not, I'm not really sure what we're going to do. Now, the major problem with this is I actually have no idea what type they are. I assume they're either Psychic or Normal type, but I'm not 100% sure. But we are looking for, again, Sleep Talk and Rest. I think Rest is a normal type TM, isn't it? That's what I would guess. Sleep Talk is a normal type TM. Okay, good. Did we come to the right place? Maybe Rest is a psychic TM then. I don't see it anywhere in here. I could just be blind. Maybe I'm overlooking it, but I'm going to go ahead and check these psychic TMs, which should be the pink. No, that's fairy. Should be the magenta. And is it in here? Rest. Okay, perfect. So I was right. I did know one was psychic and one was normal type. I just had them mixed up. But there we go. We got our 2 TMs, which we'll use a little bit later on once we actually have the Mega Aggron that we're going to keep. And I guess for now, let's go ahead and grab our Mega Stone. We'll get everything put together in our inventory. So, of course, this is going to be our held item, which we need because we want Mega Aggron, not regular Aggron. And then other than that, we just have to wait for the egg. Okay, we got our first egg. I'm going to assume that it is, yes, the Aron egg that we needed. So let's go ahead and grab this thing. Check the IVs first, of course. IVs number 2. That is 49%. Wow, that is a big decrease. None are 31s, but that's okay. We weren't really breeding for the IVs anyways. So let me go ahead and hatch this egg. Please have the move. And it does. Okay, great. So now what we need to do is take our Ditto out of our daycare. And we need to breed our Aron with the Ditto and hopefully end up getting exactly what we need. Now, before we go ahead and put them back into the daycare, I want to make sure they have the correct held item. So our Ditto is currently holding a Destiny Knot, which is perfect, but I want our Aron to be holding an Everstone, and I want to modify the nature so that every single time we get a new Aron, it's the nature that we actually want. So using the Poke Designer, I'm going to flip this Aron's nature into Impish, which should be right about here. So because natures actually increase based on a percentage, they boost a stat by 10% and lower a stat by 10%. And because our defense is such a high number, that 10% difference is pretty massive. So it's really important that we do boost our defensive stats. So let's go ahead and confirm that change, confirm that, and check our held items chest. See, do we actually have any Everstones sitting in here? Yes, we do. Okay, perfect. And then we can go ahead and throw these 2 back into the daycare and go back to actually waiting on some more eggs. So after waiting for about 20 minutes, we got our next egg. Let's go ahead and check the IVs and see if it's one that we want to use, or if we want to wait for another egg, or if we even want to replace this Aron in breeding with the one that we just got. So hatch number 2, IVs number 2, and we can go ahead and actually look 62%. So pretty bad overall, but it does have 231s, which means it is a Pokemon that we're going to want to go ahead and swap with the current Aron breeding. So let's go ahead and take this guy out. Let's replace him, and let's put this one back into the daycare, the new one with slightly higher IVs, and wait for another egg. So in terms of ability, it doesn't really matter what your Aron has, because Mega Aggron actually only has one available ability. Now, Sturdy is probably going to be the best bet, because when you're still in your Aggron form and not Mega Evolved, you can technically, I guess, get one shot before you switch over into it, which means your ability Sturdy would prevent that from happening because you cannot be one hit. But once you're Mega Aggron, you actually have the ability Filter. And the way that that actually works is it reduces the damage taken from super effective moves by 25%, meaning fire attacks, I believe fire, fighting, and ground types, which normally would be 2 times effective to a steel type Pokemon like Aggron, are actually only going to be 1.5 times effectiveness, which is a pretty big difference, pretty big deal when it comes to damage dealing moves, because we have a pretty low special defense. Moves like Flamethrower or something else along those lines could do quite a bit of damage to us, but because of our ability, it's going to do slightly less, which is always good. And here we go, the move that we were actually looking for. We are now level 22. I'm just using rare candies because it's easier and we have a bunch of them. It is a steel type damage dealing move. Doesn't really have that much to it other than just straight up damage. It can technically make the target flinch, but that's not really why we're getting this move. The main reason is because it is going to give us that stab bonus from being a steel type move, as really good accuracy and fairly good power. So let's go ahead and replace Tackle, and our moveset is now complete. Now I'm going to go ahead into the Poke Designer, and I'm going to boost our level up by, let's go with 70. That'll put us at level 95. that should be good. So let's go ahead and confirm that. We'll get up to level 95, and then we can just use a couple more rare candies to evolve into Aggron. And there we go. We got ourselves a level 97 Aggron. I'm actually just going to boost him all the way up to level 100. And we're going to use the Poke Designer in order to sort out the rest of the stuff, which would just be, I believe, the EVs. I think that's all we have left. So let's jump into here and let's go ahead and boost up some EVs. So what are we going to do in terms of EVs? We want to actually do a lot into defense. We're going to go ahead and boost his defensive, actually EVs are on this side. We're going to boost his EVs, his defensive EVs all the way up to 252, which is the maximum you can put into a single stat. We're going to boost the HP up to 248, and we're going to put 8 into attack so we get a couple stat boosts in that department as well. So 248 there, and then 8 into attack, and we should be good to go. So that is fully EV trained, fully IV trained, I guess IV bred. So EV's number 2. That's going to be 100%, 248 in HP, 252 in defense, and 10 in attack, which 2 of those EVs in attack don't really do anything. And then if we go ahead and check the IVs, you can see 84%. The only IV stat that is not at perfect is special attack, which I suppose we can boost up if we need to. I might do that a little bit later on. But for now, we're just going to leave it. That is pretty good. And we got that directly out of the egg without having to modify anything in the Poke Designer. And then for its ability, it's just going to be sturdy. That is your best bet because you are going to be getting the filter ability once you mega evolve. It doesn't matter too much, but having sturdy there can help you a little bit when you're in your regular Aggron form. And then if we go ahead and take a look at its nature, Impish, you're going to boost your defensive stat, and it's going to lower your special attack, which again, the lowered special attack does not matter at all, but you're going to get an insane benefit from having that defensive stat boosted. So I definitely recommend sticking with Impish Nature. If we go ahead and take a look at its moveset, we already talked about Curse, we talked about Iron Head, now Sleep Talk and Rest. So Rest basically works, you go to sleep for 2 turns, and that fully restores your HP and heals any status condition. That's going to be really good, and because we are so bulky and such a tanky Pokemon, we should be able to sustain through those 2 turns and then get back up to full health. However, that doesn't even really matter because we have Sleep Talk. It will randomly use one of its other moves. So it could potentially use Iron Head, it could potentially use Curse. I believe it could even potentially use Rest again, which would mean it had no effect. But because of this move right here, it means that while we're sleeping, we're not completely vulnerable to everything. We're still going to be able to dish out damage or boost our stats. So let's go ahead and put our Mega Stone onto our Aggron and Mega Evolve him for the very first time here and take a look at this very, very thick Pokemon that we're going to be having here. Mega Aggron, he is so chubby. Look at this guy. He's pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. He's probably one of the coolest Mega Pokemon. He's up there, definitely. Really, really cool Pokemon, and that is going to be that. So we can see he now has the filter ability, and I think I've gone over pretty much everything. So we are done with the how to train your Pokemon segment of this video. However, I promised you guys that in every single episode, I would go ahead and pull winners for the Master Ball Lotto. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's basically a lottery here on the server where you can input Master Balls as your entry tickets. This sign right here explains it all. It's right next to Warp Shop, so you can come take a look. I also have a video yesterday and the day before that explains it in a little more detail. But from now on, I am going to go ahead and pull the winners at the end of my videos in order to prevent it from taking up the beginning of every single episode, because I feel like that could get a little bit annoying. But if you are entering in the contest and you want to see the winners, you can go ahead and just skip to the end of the video if you actually don't want to watch the whole thing. But from now on, in all future episodes, the Master Ball Lotto winners will be picked at the end of each episode. So let's go ahead and jump straight into this. Pick our winners for today, and I will say every single person that gets picked today is going to be getting 5 shiny tokens. So that is a pretty good value for one Master Ball entry. I think it's pretty good anyways. I feel like these shiny tokens are probably worth maybe 3 or 4 times as much as a single Master Ball, maybe even more than that. So getting 5 of them is a pretty big deal. Okay, guys, so here on the gold server, I did go ahead and actually on all the servers, I changed up the way that it works. It is now going to just shoot the Master Balls out into a big pile here, and then I'm going to spin my mouse wheel around so it goes to a random slot, jump into the pile, and that is going to be the winner. So I'll explain it a little bit more as we go, but there are a lot of entries here on the gold server, so we are going to be getting 2 winners. So let me go ahead and just pull out as many of these as I can Now, I will say Master Balls are actually in the do not delete thing with the clear lag, so we shouldn't have any worries about them getting wiped by clear lag. They have their whitelist on there, or their blacklist, whatever you want to call it. So we don't have to worry about that, but I am going to go ahead and actually take all of these Master Balls out. It's going to be quite difficult to get all of them, but I'm just kind of randomly selecting them, mixing them up, not really worrying too much about whose is whose, so that it is completely random. And I'm going to go ahead and dump these all into one big pile at the end. All right, guys, well, there goes the final Master Balls down into the pile. And the way that I'm actually going to do it here on Gold is we're going to have 3 winners just because of the vast amount of entries. And I'm going to keep it simple, and we're going to say slot 1, 2, and 3 are going to be the winners. So I'm going to jump into this pile of Master Balls. Whichever Master Ball ends up in slot 1, 2, and 3, those are the 3 people that are going to get 5 shiny tokens each here on the Gold server. And then on the other 2 servers, we'll probably have 1 winner each just because there's a lot less entries. But let's go ahead and get this thing started. I'm just going to jump straight into the pile. This is crazy. There's like 3 double chests of Master Balls right here. All right, here we go. I'm actually going to keep it on slot 1, so we'll see immediately who wins the first slot. Ready? Here we go. And we can see, okay, Kogiyama gets the first winner, and then we can see Bagel Loops in second, and Bagel Loops actually won 29 entries. Bagel Loops, 29, wait, what? Does he actually have 29 entries? That would be insane. There's no way, right? Okay, well, Bagel Loops won twice there, and it seems like he's put in 29 of his own entries. We'll go ahead and move those up into the corner, and I'll make sure that these, well, Bagel Loops gets 10. I mean, I can't take that away from him. That's fair game, I guess, but 29 entries, that is insane. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the Master Balls back into the chest. Those are the winners for the Gold server. Let's go ahead and pick out the winners for Silver and Crystal. Okay, guys, and here on the Silver server, we're actually going to have 2 winners. Since I did skip yesterday uploading, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 winners today. So let me go ahead and jump into this pile. And actually, on this server, we're going to do slot 9 and slot 8. So whoever ends up in these 2 slots will be the winners of the 5 shiny tokens each. Let's just go ahead and do this thing. And Mega_GreenX, as well as... Wait. Someone forgot to name their Master Ball, so I guess... I'll drop that on the ground, and the winner is Faraway Gamer. Okay, whoever forgot to name their Master Ball. Oh, that really sucks. You guys got to make sure that you actually rename your Master Balls. But yeah, Faraway Gamer, I actually dropped your Master Ball. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, no. Okay, well, I know who the winner is, so you guys will get your shiny tokens. They should be deposited into your inventories. All right, guys, so same thing here on the Crystal server. We're going to have 2 winners, and I'm going to go with slots. Let's go with 5 and 6. So these 2 slots right here are going to be the winners. Let me just go ahead and jump straight into the pile, and there we go. So OG Refrigerator and Trapdoor, you 2 will be getting the 5 shiny tokens each, and the rest of the Master Balls will, of course, go back into the system for tomorrow's drawing. Okay, guys, so that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to go ahead and leave a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.